What the dog doing?
Hello guys, welcome back and welcome in if you're new here. Today I am going to show you a very exciting passion project that I completed. Well, not really completed, but I will be completing it off screen, and hopefully by the end of the video I will show you guys what I've ended up with. So this is the, I think, Seawhite by Brighton. I will put the correct name up on the screen. And it's an accordion sketchbook. I thought it would be fun to play around with the accordion sketchbook because I was really into making comics, right? But because I've once back in the olden days written a webtoon which was not very long or very well done, but since I have been accustomed to making those, I wanted to kind of stay with that format, and when I saw these I thought it would be perfect for a comic that I am doing, but that one is now A5 size, so this kind of stayed a bit abundant. But yesterday, or the day before, I got the idea of making a comic about spring. So in a span of 5 hours I sketched, wrote the words, did the lettering basically, and inked it all in a span of 5-ish hours, which did end up leaving my hands kind of in pain. But then I went to sleep, I woke up and I painted the rest. So in hindsight it took me about 7 to 8 hours to do all of this, which you might think is a lot of time for a tiny book, but it was a bit tedious at one point, and I'm not fully done with it. I do have the cover left, and if I do like how this came out, I want to format this in A5, which means redoing all of it but digitally, but we will see about that. For now, let's enjoy the very cute little comic I made. It's called Spring is for Falling in Love, which might sound a bit, cliche and a bit but it's a very fun little cute comic. I also was very short on space, so if it skips a lot, please do not mind so. And I will insert a video, I don't know when or where, but of the process, so it will be a very short one as well because I didn't want to film my whole process. But yeah, so this is the cover. I haven't finished it. I don't think I want to keep this like corkboard kind of element. I initially wanted to have something like this, but then I already made a panel with this, so it didn't make sense for me to make that into the cover. So I will be doing this off screen. But yeah, spring, marking the end of winter and is the transition period to summer. This is a very rubbish definition, but that's all my brain could rack up at that moment of time, and I kind of did it in pen with, so yeah. And for this project specifically, I took apart my kaweco cartridge that already had half ink, so it's not even done. I put that aside. I got a empty one that I stored away, and then I syringed black ink into it so that I could do this, and then also watercolor. I used the diamine forever ink, the Raven one, and that's how I kind of did all of this. The borders that you see here I did with the manuscript dip pen, and I used the same ink, and it was a bit of a tedious project, but Like, I love looking through these. I think I looked through this like 5 or 6 times already, and it's been like 2 hours since I've woken up, so you know. And the perfect season to fall in love. Rain, I don't get your obsession with spring. It is just a season, and spring doesn't suddenly change your relationship status. You don't get it. It's the season of new beginnings. Fine, fine. So how exactly will you fall in love? You don't even go out of the house. That brings me to my next point. Help me out. Rain, I've been single since birth myself. I'll find the guy, you just help me pursue him. Okay, fine. Meet me at the mall at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Fall in love 101. So this is like a web page, right? 10 places you will definitely fall in love. Find love. The last one will shock you. I tried to make a very clickbaity title because, you know, the mall. And then I wrote a bit of rubbish because I needed to fill up space without doing the scribbles as I usually do. You better be correct. This spring I will fall in love. And so she goes through from day 1 to day 20, and as you can see, cross, cut, cross, cut, cross, cut, cross, and it just doesn't work out. I give up, girl, and then it's back on the phone, by the way. Love is not something you just find on the streets. I wish it was that simple. And then her mom tells her to take the trash out. She cuts the call. She goes downstairs and she's talking to the cat, saying, "Are you looking for love too? I don't think there's any for me." And then, boom, love interest. And as you can see, the title said 10 places. So there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then the 10th one is when the time is right, which technically does not make sense because it's not a place, but for the sake of the plot, it is right. And then he's like, "It's been a while, Rain," and she looks up and it's like, "River." Don't ask me why, they're both water related. I just liked naming them like that. Another close one was olive because I like the color olive, so I was gonna name him that, but I have another character in mind for that, so I kind of gave him another name. And I really like this. This is so, like, my sister said it looks a bit 1D, but I think it looks very like cute. I love the colors. For the first time, my color skills have not abandoned me, so I really like it. And I think with the cover and all, it will look very, very cute. So yeah, that's how I made a comic in about a day and a half. And I think you can do it too if you want. But I know that I won't personally be able to do another project like this because, okay, that fell. Because my mind just does not work like that. So instead, I want to go through watercolors, as you can see from my very messy setup, which was designed not to be messy, but I want to talk about watercolors because I asked on my Instagram if you guys wanted a talk about watercolors or fountain pens, and majority, except one person, wanted watercolors. So here's my talk about watercolors. So I started, I think, last year in August, so now it's July-ish, about watercolors. Sorry, what? I started my watercolor journey again. I used to use like those, you know, those very school-like watercolors. Can I just stop saying that? I keep saying watercolors and it's kind of annoying me now. But I used to use those and I really hated it. I just thought something was wrong with me for not being able to use it. So I think 2 or 3 years later, I think no wait, about 5 or 6 years later, I got myself one of the similar ones, a different brand, similar style, similar colors, similar things, and I could actually use it. So I used it for a majority of a sketchbook, which is somewhere in my room. I cannot be asked to find it, but I did a lot of watercolors. It was very chalky as well, so that was a very big problem for me, because I wanted to kind of use it both pages, and that didn't work. Like, that worked really well for me, but it wasn't kind of mind-boggling yet. So I was going through TikTok and I saw a video promoting London Graphic Centre, and I saw that they had stickers. So I went on their website to find stickers, and then instead of stickers I found that they had watercolors, okay, and something more in my price range at that time. So I was looking through them. Initially I thought I was gonna get the, you know, the ones that are like have 4 missing and they have like a theme, but then I found that they have the whole set for I think £1 more. So obviously I went for the full set, and this one also comes with a little paintbrush. I want a paintbrush like this, but like in a travel size, but I cannot find one that meets my standards just yet. I don't use this very much, but people trash on this way too much, and I don't think it's that bad. I think it's a pretty, like, you could definitely use it if that's all you had. Let me just put this back. It is kind of an annoying thing to put it back though. Okay, you know what? I'll put it at the end of the video. And as you can tell, in a year I have used this a lot, especially these blues, the yellows, and these. I think all of them have kind of seen some kind of incremental damage to them. And I got this about half a year ago, so this is also another set. This is from Roman Smalls. I probably butchered that, so sorry. And this came empty, so you have to put all of this in. I got this in Berlin in, I think, modular. And this one, and this too, they are these 4. They are gouaches, so they're not watercolors. And if you don't know the difference, not that I know much of a difference myself, these ones are more like in the middle of watercolors and acrylics. So I have some acrylics right here on my table as well. This one was kind of abused. These are from Saussure & Grenay. I don't love acrylics, but these were the ones from Saussure & Grenay was kind of mind-changing. I was like, okay, maybe I don't hate acrylics, but that's for another video. These, however, are my watercolors, and I love this. Okay, when I first got this and I had a small sketchbook, I was using it every single day, and I just kept getting new ideas over new ideas over new ideas, and it was so fun. And I didn't realize I could use my brain like that, so that was a very, very good thing. And then it kind of trickled down. Because of this, I realized I could spend so much money on stationery, and that's exactly how I have accumulated so much. And I don't think it's gonna stop anytime soon, which is kind of concerning. So, would I recommend this? Absolutely, I would recommend this in a heartbeat. This is not sponsored, obviously, as you can tell. But if you want to get into watercolors, I think, right, you should definitely go for something that's like this. If you don't want this specific brand, that's fine. one thing that I think you should consider is having a cool and a warm tone. So this one, they do it for you already. So this is cool, warm, cool, warm, something like that, right? I'm not too fussed about it, but you can make any colors with this. So if you're saying where's black, you can make that with these two. If you want to make gray, you can see on my palette, I use this palette so much, and you can mix all of these colors to get your perfect color, and it teaches you a lot about like colors and color theory. You will be surprised about how much you learn just by mixing colors. The only thing I would change is, you see right here, this is Winsor & Newton. These two are Winsor & Newton cotmans. If instead of this white one, I would put this pink one, because white is a bit redundant when it comes to watercolors. I'm not saying that it's useless, but I mean, I don't use it as much. And you might be like, why is there a hole there? Because I've lent this out a couple of times, and people use it, which is fine. But white is not something I use. If you want to use white, I think you should go for gouache instead. I don't know, it just feels like it works better. I don't know if that's kind of backed up by anyone. I just like using gouache over watercolor white. And yeah, these two I think are from rowney. This one is Winsor & Newton, but this one is a professional one. I do have another professional one, which is this color, but obviously this one is still here, so I'm going to use that later on. This one is gouache, as I've shown you. That's also gouache. That one is also gouache. This one is this beauty right here. You might be like, why is this so small? This is so expensive, okay? So expensive. But Daniel Smiths are known to be really good, so I wanted to try, but I didn't want to buy something that I already had, so I went for a teal, I think. Yeah, cobalt teal blue, and this works so beautifully, so beautifully. I love this, and it adds a pop of color, which is great. And then, as I said, these are both cotmans, and then this is gouache again. And I've not tried that many watercolor brands. Oh, also I did try I tried one more. I got samples of it. I'll put a picture up on. And it's the Ukrainian brand, I think. And they're good. They just have like a really sticky feeling when big on the sample. But I saw that they have like the half pans, full pans, so I definitely do want to get one, and maybe I'll have to rearrange this so that I can fit one full standard one, but we'll have to see. Because actually, after I got this two sets, which were like half a year apart, I didn't feel like buying more. I do want to buy one thing that's been on my wish list for a very long time, and I was supposed to get it for my birthday, but I instead got myself a Seda Shikori fountain pen, which I am so thrilled about. But I want this set, and it's like, it has the prettiest colors, and it just speaks to me, and it's very spring-like, and I really do love it. But I have yet to find a reason to get it. So yeah. Also, if you kind of think this is a bit too intimidating, I think you should try neocolours. This one is the version 2, so they are activated with water. So you draw as you would, and then you take a brush, put it in water, and then it will be activated once it touches the color. Or you can kind of shave it a little bit off and then use it like a paste. I personally don't love doing that. I like neocolours as they are, but if you want to take that and do that, that's obviously the purpose of it. So if this is kind of scary, then you should go for this. But this is a brand that's a bit on a pricier range, so you can try watercolor pencils, watercolor crayons. I'm sure there's a market for that. So it's just not something I'm interested in, so I don't have much knowledge. But if that's something you want to try, go for it. I think watercolors is such a good medium. I know people prefer acrylics, or yeah, I think acrylics is like the base, or color pencils, but I think watercolors have such a good like benefit to them. I love how I can like dilute a lot of colors, but also like, you know, and people ask me like, how do I control the water? I don't control the water flows as it is. I don't even remember how I used to use it, so I can't even tell you what to do and what not to do, because once you kind of find the way that works for you, you just forget everything else, or at least that's me. But yeah, also one thing that you would probably be hearing a lot when it comes to watercolors is paper. Paper is so important, but if you're broke, then it's not that important, because I use Royal Talents. So this is, I think, like $3, and if you want to get into proper like fancy schmancy stuff, then paper is something you need to consider more than you need to consider this. There's like cotton paper, cold press, hot pressed, all this kind of stuff, and personally I don't care, to be honest. Not now, maybe in the future I will, but for now I like my simple setup. And considering the hierarchy of things that you might want to consider when talking about watercolors, it goes paper, watercolors, and then paintbrushes. So paintbrushes, they can be really cheap, and that's absolutely fine. It just matters on this and the paper. Also, one thing to consider as well is 2 words: light fastness, which you might be like, what is that? It's basically like how well the pigment will stay with like sunlight and stuff. So if you don't know, a lot of paints, they're not light fast, so they will kind of fade over time. That means that if you have a beautiful piece, right, and it's like pinks and stuff, over time that might just become white or another color, I don't know. So the professional Winsor Newtons, the professional ones are mostly all good with light fastness. That is only one of them right now, but I heard that cotman one is pretty good as well. So yeah, and also this does not only involve watercolors, it's also like brush pens, pens and stuff like that. And another word is, I forgot. It's okay. Just consider the light fastness, okay? And if you want something a bit more forgiving than watercolors, then you might want to go for gouache. Gouache is a bit more expensive. You've probably seen the Himi gouaches, mostly because I think they're very popular for getting mold. But if you take good care of them, I think that should not be a problem. Also, it depends on the climate you live in and stuff. But if you want tubed ones, they are also a very good option. I personally wouldn't recommend this specific one because the handles are so painful to open, and I would rather choose my colors than do this. These 4 are fine. I just don't use a black when I'm painting, so that one is a bit redundant to me. Instead, I would have probably gotten like a brown or maybe a green. But if you can choose what colors you want to go for, I think that's better than kind of picking a set. But if you want to pick a set, that's also fine, because look, this is a set, that's a set, this was a set, and then I added more colors in. And this is kind of my own mix-up. It's very dirty, I know, but I just work better that way. I think the more you try to be careful with stuff, the less careful you actually become. So this is just how my brain works. I do clean them out every kind of month or so, because I do go periods without using these, because I will probably switch to a different medium, or I will focus more on journaling or more writing. So it kind of depends, and I do kind of jump between stuff because it makes more sense in my brain to do so. I do not want to constantly do one thing over the other. And yeah, I hope you guys like my little rant, which was kind of very nonsensical. I wish I could show you guys a process of me making something, but I have very quickly understood that I cannot do that. It's too hard for me to talk and paint and film at the same time. So this is kind of my makeshift review of watercolors. And if you have a favorite brand, please do let me know. I would absolutely love to know. And if you want to get into watercolors, there is so many different brands out there, and I saw this one artist say that the brand can matter, yes, but what matters more is what labels they put. So so if you're working with acrylics, right, I can't tell you what brand is perfect or amazing, right, but I can tell you that if they have some kind of indicator on light fastness or opacity / transparency, that might be very good for you to understand what kind of preferences you have. Because if you have only worked with very, very cheap acrylics and they're very translucent and that irritates you, then you might want to go for something that says it on the label that is opaque. You don't need to buy professional mediums, but understanding what exactly you want, or have an idea of what you want when it comes to picking supplies, is a very, very good thing to do, because everyone uses supplies very differently. We all have our different preferences. Some prefer different things, and if you like gouache but you do not like that it's reactivated by water every single time, you can probably look at acrylic gouaches, which is kind of a mix between gouache and acrylics, and those are very, very good. Okay, I don't love acrylics, but I love acrylic gouaches, and I want to get more of them because I only have 3 very muted colors. But yeah, so that's my little rant. You don't need all these special equipment, but if you find something that speaks to you, everything would flow a bit smoother. And if you haven't found the one for you, don't worry, don't stress about it. Just find what's available in your square in your circle and slowly expand. And if you don't want to expand, that's also fine. Basically, do whatever you want. People have their own choices, own opinions. Find what's best for you. Okay, that's enough for today. That's enough rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, consider leaving me a little comment saying that. I will be logging off now. Bye bye.